Welcome, one and all. I'm the dispatcher, and 7 Hot Takes is my Sunday morning address. Saturday night's main event is only a week away already, and it appears a 4-match card is set. There's still episodes of Raw and SmackDown to lead us there first, so maybe they can squeeze in one more match, especially if one of the 4 confirmed matches goes lightning quick. R-Truth versus Cena might not last 2 minutes. What did John say? Your time is now. Hot take number 1. 2 weeks ago, I pondered if Sami had already lost his babyface shine with only a single win against The Miz to show for his last 13 matches. So is Sami ready for a heel turn? I say not yet, but maybe it's coming. I don't think he's going to betray CM Punk. The math doesn't add up there. Punk already doesn't trust him, so that wouldn't really be a betrayal. And I don't think Sami will join Rollins and Breakker. If Kevin Owens couldn't beat loyalty into Sami, then I don't think Rollins and Breakker have, and it would be an undignified choice for Sami after the pounding he took at their hands. Let's give it a few more weeks. It's early yet, but to make a bold prediction, I'm fully invested right now in a Sami in the bank scenario, and the prospect of him having to deal with the temptation of cashing in his briefcase on Jay. Hot take number 2. But will Jay still be the champion? The Oos with the Juice has had one title defense so far, a loss to Seth Rollins by DQ. Now he has to fight Braun Breaker on Monday, the Dipstick on Saturday, and if he gets through that, has another date with Gunther lined up at the Money in the Bank. I'd almost rather Dipstick won, just so we could have the pleasure of seeing Gunther tear him apart. If Gunther fights Jay again at Money in the Bank, I have a hard time believing Gunther will lose clean twice in a row. So either shenanigans, or Gunther gets the win and his title back, or, and this is the one I'm leaning towards, there's a cash-in, and neither Jay nor Gunther will be world champ at the end of the night. Hot take number 3. So if Sami isn't going to be the third man in Rollins' Revolution, then who might it be? I'm assuming their match at Saturday night's main event next week will end with Sami and Punk outnumbered by the arrival of Rollins' latest recruit. My very first thought for who would fit into this role was Rusev. Can you imagine? What a powerhouse faction that would be. But I don't think that's the right answer. I think Rusev has his own path to follow. But then I thought of someone who would be very much like Rusev in that group, a wrestler rumored to return to action in May or June after a long injury absence. Bronson Reed. I suppose he could go back to Solo's bloodline, but with Jeff Cobb added to Tongaloa, Tamatonga, and Fatu, Reed would be a surplus addition there, and his presence would feature far more prominently and make a much bigger impact alongside Heyman's headline act. Hot take number 4. So while we're all expecting Rollins' group to be joined by a third man, there isn't a single lady on the show yet. Unless the third man is the man, Becky Lynch. That would be a silly twist. But safely assuming that won't happen, I don't like asking, where are all the women at on a Saturday night? We can do better than that, right? That's my usual thought when I get this all too familiar feeling. Surely, if a 5th match is added, it will be from the ladies' division. But with just a 2-hour scheduled runtime, commercials, features and segments, and 120 celebrities to introduce to the camera, quality time might not be there. As a quick aside, I'm not sold on Roxanne Perez, but I do like Julia and see a ton of potential there. Congrats to her on landing an official spot on the SmackDown roster. Zelina Vega's U.S. title reign seems increasingly precarious. Hot take number 5. How hurt is Bayley? We've not seen her since she was attacked backstage at WrestleMania. At the time, they indicated that it was her shoulder that was injured. That was 4 weeks ago now. Bayley has all kinds of motivation to get even with Becky, and her loyalty to Lyra should be reason enough to be in her corner. Haven't we learned anything from the New Day? Being injured isn't a valid excuse for not being there for your friends. And Big E had a neck injury. This is just Bayley's kayfabe shoulder. But Bayley should have another reason to make a loud return and show some fire. It's widely recognized, even by Bayley herself, that she's been disrespected by the WWE and has strong connections to wrestlers no longer with the company. She can lay kayfabe blame for missing WrestleMania on Becky Lynch, but she's got equal grievance with not being on posters, low ratings in video games, minimal press conference time, and having her friends sent packing. Why not make that part of her story and let her ride an anti-establishment working-class hero energy into battle with the man? Hot take number 6. I'd like to see more of Ivy Nile. Now there's someone for whom the women's US title seems perfectly suited. The Creeds are pretty good too, and I hope they get a proper showcase with several matches against the New Day and War Raiders. They'd look good with gold as well, but I want the New Day to keep the belts for a while. Chad Gable, meanwhile, and I hate to say it, seems to have lost his way. El Grande has now reached the point of diminishing returns, I think, and threatens to ruin the mystique of Penta and Phoenix if it goes on much longer. At the same time, Chad Gable's solo career is going nowhere. Chad might be the most technically sound wrestler on the roster. The Intercontinental should be his continual focus, and with Dom as the current champion, there's never been a better chance for Chad to easily outclass his opponent and win the prestigious belt. American Made versus Judgment Day could also be a fun faction versus faction feud involving multiple titles. My only concern with this super athletic group is that I think each of them could do better individually under a separate gimmick. As a unit, they don't have that intimidation factor yet. Thus far, American Made has not proven to be greater than the sum of its parts. Hot take number 7. The card for Saturday night's main event is stacked with star power and already looks better than Backlash. We don't need to talk about Jay's opponent, and the outcome there seems obvious. Superkick, spear, splash, yeet, repeat. Punk and Sammy versus Rollins and Breaker is likely to end in DQ or no contest and find the heroes outnumbered by the arrival of a third man. R-Truth and Cena could be a short match, but hopefully there's enough time for Truth to get a hope spot and do a spirited run-through of Cena's moveset of doom. And finally, but also never-endingly, McIntyre versus Priest in a steel cage vortex match. McIntyre said, "Only one man is going to walk out of that cage. The other is leaving on a stretcher." That's what he said. That's the way he said it. Why not just a stretcher match? Or better yet, some sort of combination stretcher steel cage exploding ambulance match. And the match should start with the cage being lowered while the stretcher is already in the ring. And then they can use it as a weapon. But the best part will be when they have to figure out how to get the stretcher out of the cage. You see, it's too wide to fit through the door, so they have to get it up and over the cage while their opponent is strapped into it. Then, to win the match, they'll have to roll the stretcher up the ramp, through the curtain and past Gorilla, into the backstage hallways until they find the loading dock, and then wheel the stretcher up another ramp and pitch their opponent off the edge and into a waiting ambulance, which explodes. Thanks for being here. Stay safe through the week, and we'll see you after we stay up late for Saturday night's main event and then get up early with the usual Sunday morning hot takes. I don't get enough sleep. I'm the dispatcher, you're on the top turnbuckle, and every day is a sunset flip.